Another night of strong storms. Find out who's in the bullseye right now for flash flooding and damaging winds.
Learn about a dangerous weather phenomenon in play tonight that could fuel that threat and be just as destructive as a tornado.
We're also following a very active night in the tropics. Hurricane expert Dr. Rick Knapp breaks down his biggest concerns in both the Atlantic and the Eastern Pacific.
Plus, Examination Earth. We'll discuss our planet's report card this month and what it means for the rest of the year.
And the Great American Chill Out continues on the Weather Channel. Is this past winter's record snowfall now helping elite athletes train better for the Olympics? It's coming up next on Weather Underground. Hi there, welcome into Weather Underground on this Tuesday. Should note that we are halfway through the show and we are already out of the good snacks.
That is a shame. That is a shame.
But that just means it's an exciting, action-packed night. I'm Alex Wilson. Mark Elliott is in the house, too, so that makes it a little extra exciting.
Well, thank you.
Sure.
Mike Bettis, he's not here to enjoy or not eat any of the snacks.
Right. Well, he's got his own snacks. He's on vacation, so he has vacation snacks, so he doesn't even count.
Which are always the better
tonight.
kind of snack.
Exactly.
Let's move on. Storms are firing up across parts of the country. We're going to start things off tonight across the northern plains.
Yeah, let's send it upstairs to the lab to severe weather expert Dr. Greg Forbes. Not tropical storm, Greg. Dr. Forbes, where do we have the thunderstorms or the biggest concerns over the next few hours?
Well, I also wanted to point out I didn't have a single one of those snacks either. You hoarded them all to yourselves and didn't give them out here to the lab. But we do have a few more active storms now along a cold front that's up in parts of Wisconsin and upper peninsula of Michigan. Here's the cold front there. We do have a few other severe thunderstorms in the easterly flow that's pushing into eastern parts of Montana, southwest Nebraska, and northeast parts of Colorado as well. Taking a look, this storm that had been severe in the upper peninsula of Michigan has gone past Escabana. It's mostly now down near south and east of Hiawatha. It's not a good time to be out on Lake Superior, as these storms likely to be packing 60-mile-per-hour winds, certainly enough to capsize, for example, sailboats. Then heading toward the Green Bay, Wisconsin area, Brown, Outagamie and Shawano counties have severe thunderstorm warnings. This line of thunderstorms probably a little less than an hour away now from the Green Bay area. I wanted to show you there are some strong winds within this. Some of these green shadings are showing where some of the stronger winds are heading toward the Green Bay area. Maybe not quite as strong now as they were 15 minutes ago, but there could be some 60-mile-per-hour gusts heading that way. Tents, for example, if anybody's camping out in tents, those might get blown over. Down toward the Westfield area, not severe, but this is another area that has some stronger thunderstorms just east of I-39. Here, this little green line, outflow boundaries, where the storms have not been able to sustain themselves because there's warmer air aloft. Farther down to the south of the front, some strong storms from Cedar Rapids to Iowa City down to the Crawfordsville area. Heading east toward the Quad Cities area, could be some strong lightning within that. So here and there, isolated severe thunderstorms from the upper peninsula of Michigan down into Green Bay and Madison, down into parts of Iowa and maybe even Nebraska, but isolated is kind of the operative word. Mark?
Thank you, Dr. Forbes. Meanwhile, we want to find out where these storms are going to be headed over the next several hours, through the night, maybe even into tomorrow morning. Again, we got those clusters heading towards Quad Cities, heading towards Green Bay right now, although the timing a little bit off for those. That said, the model doing a decent job at picking up on the flavor of these storms, and as we roll this forward, it looks like that cluster of storms is going to try to get into northern and eventually central Michigan, and the storms from Iowa will trek across into central Illinois. Both could have continuing wind threats through the night, and then we reset. The atmosphere doesn't get totally turned over by the storms. They're not quite as organized as they were, say, last night. So storms could start pretty early in the Dakotas, and then those storms will be able to drop south into the new unstable air for tomorrow afternoon. So it's something that we got to watch. Many of these cities will again be at play. Minneapolis to Chicago, maybe as far south and east as Indianapolis. Now, Alex, we're watching storms across the north, but it's tied around that big dome of high pressure, which then connects the southwest to this story as well.
Yeah, and we want to show you this. This is pretty awesome. A wet microburst. Look at that. Strong winds, heavy rain, basically falling out of this cloud. You call it a rain bomb in some situations. If you're beneath that, you're noticing it. This was the offices of the National Weather Service in the Las Vegas area. Incredible stuff. And up to 2 inches of rain fell around the Las Vegas area yesterday, and that led to some drivers having a heck of a time getting around. I know what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas, and you see some crazy things on the strip, but that manhole with all the water coming out of it Also pretty intriguing. These folks waiting it out at a gas station because it was just too tough to be out there on the road. Still have the rain, the thunderstorms, and the flash flood concerns across parts of the Southwest, with more shower and thunderstorm development underway right now. We've got flash flood warnings in and around Flagstaff, areas north and east of Phoenix, and also north of Tucson. We've got this warning here in Pima County until 4:30 Mountain Time. We've seen some heavy rain up into the northwest corner of the state of Arizona as well. So Mojave County under a flash flood warning as well. As we go through the next few hours, watch for the water trouble, of course, on the streets, but also similar to what we've seen over the past few days, those valley spots, those river basins. These are the areas where that water is going to rush and where you can find yourself in a very susceptible spot should that water come heading your way, and it can pick up a lot of debris as it does so. Rainfall still to come between now and the end of the weekend. We're talking 3, 4, even 5 inches of rainfall possible across parts of Arizona and into western New Mexico. A place like Tucson, thunderstorms possible each and every day as we go from Thursday all the way to the end of the weekend, Mark.
And Alex, a great view in the southeast as well. A couple of cool features to point out on the map here on the water vapor loop. There's a bit of an old spin that came across the southeast, and within that you get some added lift, and boom, that's where you have the thunderstorms going right now. We also have the continued moisture right along the coastline. So both of those working in concert to give us some good storms. Here's Raleigh, and as you go back towards I-73, Montgomery, Randolph, Stanley County, severe thunderstorm warning for you. For this line of storms, it's dropping down. Gusty winds there, and in fact several storms as we continue down the line towards Florence will also have those big storms. We've been following the storms between Orlando and Kissimmee. The good news, no more severe thunderstorm warnings. The bad news, we still have plenty of lightning for all those outdoor activities. We're not too far away from the fireworks and the parades times at some of the parks down there. So as we time all this out for you, we've got a couple hours left before those storms continue to just fizzle out once we lose that daytime heating. The storms in North Florida have the best chance of lingering through the overnight, and then this whole area lights up again once we boost that daytime heating for tomorrow. Alex, over to you.
All right, Mark, thank you. I'm here with Dr. Rick Knabb, our hurricane expert, because boy, you look at everything lined up here across the Eastern Pacific and the Atlantic, and you don't know where to start, but we're going to start things off with Tropical Storm Don.
Yeah, 1 hurricane, 2 tropical storms, another tropical depression, a couple other areas to watch. Where
do you want fries with that?
And ketchup and mustard and some chili too.
Exactly.
Yeah. So let's start with Don. This is on the doorstep of the southern Windward Islands. So tropical storm warnings in effect for good reason. Even though it doesn't look like a whole lot when you're zoomed out like this.
Right.
The maximum winds are 40 miles an hour, pressure 1010. Look how fast it's been moving. And there are tropical storm warnings for Grenada, for St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And it's not often the case that you have warnings for such a small area with all these other islands surrounding it, but that's how small this tropical storm is. And over the last 12 hours, look how fast it's been moving, making a beeline for those warned areas. And the thunderstorms are right on the doorstep of those islands.
Yeah, and you mentioned your biggest concern is going to be that flash flooding danger. Even though this is moving quickly, still brings a lot of rainfall. When we talk about these islands with some terrain, that could cause some trouble.
You could get 3 to 6 inches of rainfall in a very short amount of time tonight, and then it'll be over. And then this will probably fall apart tomorrow because it's so small, heading into dry air with wind shear. So like Brett, this is going to be over once it gets into the Eastern Caribbean.
All right, but we had all those other blinking circles, so we're going to break those down coming up. But Mark, for now, we'll send it back over to you.
And how all those blinking circles will interact with them as well. So let's go through what's still on tap tonight. A lot of hot air, dog hero, and taking advantage. First up, a lot of hot air. We'll go in depth on what fuels dangerous windstorms this time of year and why we're concerned tonight and the next couple of nights. Plus, dog hero. You'll never believe what happens when a dog tries to save a drowning deer. And taking advantage, find out how elite athletes training for the Winter Olympics had a big advantage this year thanks to the record winter.
Come boys, let's go. Buddy, leave the car, leave it. We got everyone?
The all-new Discovery. Land Rover above and beyond. At Joseph A. Bank, take up to 60% off almost everything. With sport coats including 1905, just $139. All dress shirts, including our best-selling traveler shirts and sports shirts, 2 for $89. Plus an extra 40% off all clearance items. Only at Joseph A. Bank.
Leinenkugel's Summer Shandy combines German-style Weiss beer with the taste of natural lemonade. It's as refreshing as refreshment gets. Leinenkugel's. Welcome to the Leinie side.
Consumer Cellular makes it easy to stay in touch with family and stay within our budget.
Now our cell phone bill is only a fraction of what it used to be.
Our average customers get everything they need for about $25 a month, and plans start at only $10 a month with no contracts.
Consumer Cellular has a great choice of phones. Check out my new one. I picked this simple phone.
I use my son's old smartphone. Kept my number, too.
Consumer Cellular has been an approved AARP provider since 2008, and members get exclusive discounts.
It's a good thing Consumer Cellular is always there, because sometimes I need a little help. Sometimes.
We're proud to have received the J.D. Power Award for highest customer service among non-contract wireless providers.
Over the years, we've seen a lot of change.
We actually use change. Luckily, there are some things we can still afford.
Like Consumer Cellular.
Stop paying too much for wireless service. Switch now, and for a limited time, get a $20 credit on any new line of service. Call 1-800-918-5493. Go online or visit a Target store today.
Dude, you're crunching and scaring the fish.
Dude, they're just jealous.
Kellogg's Raisin Bran Crunch with crunchy clusters and the taste of apples and strawberries.
I got one!
Guess we're having cereal for dinner.
Kellogg's Raisin Bran Crunch Apple Strawberry.
Beyond is a natural pet food that goes beyond assuming ingredients are safe to knowing they are. Going beyond expectations because our pets deserve it. Beyond natural pet food.
Salonpas. We're the world leader in medicinal pain patches. Our latest innovation, Salonpas Lidocaine, using hydrogel-based technology with the maximum strength lidocaine you can buy without a prescription. Salonpas Lidocaine. Nothing is proven stronger or more effective against pain.
It's been building up over decades. And through 35 years of severe weather, it's strengthened into trust. Trust in the Weather Channel. To us, nothing matters more. Every season, every storm, every time you watch. Trust the Weather Channel.
Top 10 gives the power of nature power rankings.
3, 2, 1.
Catch the top 10 weather wonders. Sunday night at 8 on the Weather Channel.
Severe weather still at play across the Midwest, and this really could be just the beginning. Some of these storms will last through the night. Others, the next couple of nights, will have the chance for some big-time storms. Dr. Navarro is going to jump in and talk about that in just a second, but let's show you what's happening right now. Knocking on the doorstep to Green Bay, we've got this storm. It is being warned. It's Brown, Oconto, and Shawano counties here, largely because of very gusty winds. Let's see if we can get that high-resolution radar to come up here. And we've got some very heavy rain embedded within this storm, and then we also can take a look at some of the motion within this storm. And within here, it's getting very close to the radar site, so getting a little bit muddled, but some estimates of some very strong winds within this zone. So it's something that we have to continue to watch. As we take the view back out and turn on that radar again to show you where we have some of those other storms, we are following that potential for storms in this region to kind of organize over Lake Michigan and then get into northern and central Michigan. Also, the storms in Iowa could affect portions of central Illinois, where there's a lot of moisture to work with, largely thanks to the corn pumping out extra atmospheric moisture this time of year. That said, bringing in Dr. Navarro now, because Dr. Navarro, some of these storms do get organized and can create insane amounts of wind this time of year.
And that's those organized ones that we really need to look out for, because those are the potent rain makers, wind makers, hail makers, even tornado makers. They really bring all the threats, and it's all connected. Mark talked about this before. This dome of high pressure is really fueling the current weather pattern, and it's right on that northern edge where we have westerly winds here that we're seeing the storms beginning to fire up. It's moist over here. We've had lots of daytime heating. That has helped to create some real serious instability here across portions of the northern plains. But let's go ahead and watch what happens, because the models are showing several days of storms, and where these storms develop
actually affects down the line where the next storms are going to develop. So here we are Tuesday night, some storms right now forming up near Green Bay and then dissipating as we go overnight. And notice the instability in the atmosphere really drops out. That makes sense. We lose the sunshine, that daytime heating. That's what's helping to fuel that threat. But by tomorrow afternoon, that instability picks up again, and now we have another organized system forming just to the northwest of Minneapolis. That's going to move to the southwest through Chicago and dissipate again. But then watch how the atmosphere tries to recover the next day. And look at this. Two distinct holes right behind those two storms that we've seen, but right in between, perhaps Des Moines, Chicago, even north of St. Louis. It really depends on where those storms go, because we still could be seeing potential outbreaks of severe weather in these regions as well. So there's a lot to think about with these systems. It's one of those times where you have to continually check your forecast to see how things really develop, because it really might change how your forecast develops.
And that's, that's one run of a high resolution model. If these storms were to shift a little bit, which we know happens, because it's trying to, go so small scale on these storms. If it's off by a couple counties, that could literally change where the next day's storm set up.
Absolutely.
So it's a lot to watch. Dr. Navarro, thanks so much. Alex, over to you.
Yeah, you guys, we got to watch some of the same areas over and over again for that chance of storms, given that setup that we've got, that ridge of high pressure. So north of that, that's where we continue to watch for storms tomorrow. Parts of the Dakotas into Minnesota and Wisconsin. We get into our Thursday, and guess what? We're watching South Dakota into parts of Minnesota, a little bit of Nebraska, Iowa as well, all the way over towards western Pennsylvania and southwest New York. Here on Friday, it's two zones. We've got the Dakotas and then once again parts of the Midwest Great Lakes region, say from parts of southeastern Minnesota down into northeastern Ohio. Mark?
And still to come on Weather Underground, hurricane expert Dr. Rick Knapp breaks down multiple concerns in the tropics right now. Find out what this latest spike in activity also means for the rest of the season. Plus, we're tracking the threat of severe storms tonight. We'll show you the latest timing and who's at risk when we come back. We're following not only those very gusty winds and the potential for that across the Midwest, but the Southeast has seen a smattering of storms. Luckily, avoiding Myrtle Beach right now, where lots of people are out on the boardwalk. A little bit hazy and humid, though.
COPD makes it hard to breathe. So to breathe better, I go with a Noro.
COPD tries to say go this way. I say I'll go my own way with a Noro.
Once Daily Anoro contains two medicines called bronchodilators that work together to significantly improve lung function all day and all night. Anoro is not for asthma. It contains a type of medicine that increases risk of death in people with asthma. The risk is unknown in COPD. Anoro won't replace rescue inhalers for sudden symptoms and should not be used more than once a day. Tell your doctor if you have a heart condition, high blood pressure, glaucoma, prostate, bladder, or urinary problems. These may worsen with Anoro. Call your doctor if you have worsened breathing, chest pain, mouth or tongue swelling, problems urinating, vision changes, or eye pain while taking Anoro.
Ask your doctor about a Noro.
Get your first prescription free at Anoro.com.
Experience uncompromising performance at the Lexus Golden Opportunity Sales Event before it ends.
Choose from the IS Turbo, ES350, or NX Turbo for $299 a month for 36 months if you lease now.
Experience amazing at your Lexus dealer.
With the Travelocity Customer First Guarantee, your only worry will be that one rogue cloud.
Get help with hotels, free 24-hour flight changes, and our price match guarantee.
Travelocity. Wander wisely.
I'm proud of what the Weather Channel is. It's a place you can turn to and trust.
Our team's taking you into the storm with live reports and expertise you won't get anywhere else.
We are meteorologists, and that makes a tremendous difference.
When it comes to a weather situation that warrants attention, we're the place to go. It's that simple.
If you've received a mesothelioma diagnosis or a loved one died from this cancer, call Simmons, Hanley, Conroy today. Asbestos exposure causes mesothelioma. Many workers were harmed because companies hid the dangers of asbestos. Today, trusts hold billions of dollars to pay mesothelioma victims and families, and you may be able to get some of this money.
Call Simmons, Hanley, Conroy for a free legal consultation. 1-800-560-1716. 1-800-560-1716. I'm a non-attorney spokesperson.
It's not a good feeling when you walk into a shop and absolutely everything doesn't work for you.
I felt like when I went shopping with my friends, I couldn't get the styles I wanted and the sizes that were available to me. What's great about Dia & Co. is I get my own personal stylist.
I can't wait to try this on.
There's always something in a box for me every month that I know I'm gonna love.
Keep what you love, send back the rest. Get your first box today at dia.com.
Dia & Co. is tailored self-confidence in a box. It's a game changer.
Top 10 gives the Power of Nature Power Rankings.
3, 2, 1.
Catch the Top 10 Weather Wonders, Sunday night at 8 on the Weather Channel.
An excessive heat warning is in effect. Currently in our area, 92 degrees under fair skies. Tonight, a few passing clouds, low 76. Wednesday, partly cloudy, high 97. Winds south at 10 to 15 miles per hour. Wednesday night, partly cloudy, low 78. Winds south at 10 to 15 miles per hour. Here's our 7-day outlook.
Welcome back, everybody, with a live look at Poipu Beach there on the south side of the South Shore, the island of Kauai. Not too shabby. Sign me up, right? Blazing sun, a few puffy clouds, maybe some showers, but certainly a better chance as we head towards the weekend. Some impacts from what's currently Hurricane Fernanda. I want to bring in hurricane expert Dr. Rick Knabb, who's talking about everything that's going on across the Eastern Pacific, of which there's a lot. Dr. Knabb, your old stomping grounds, right, from between the National Hurricane Center and the Central Pacific Center. This was your wheelhouse, these kind of parade of storms. You had to watch all of these.
Yeah, and I remember when I was out there in July and then especially August, you had to worry about what's coming from the Eastern Pacific. It's 2/3 of the Central Pacific cyclones come from the Eastern Pacific, and so that's why in Hawaii they're watching all 3 of these systems right now, and it's really fascinating how all 3 of them are interacting in one way or another. Fernanda on the left, the hurricane, Greg on the right, the tropical storm, and Depression 8E in the middle.
It's amazing. You can almost see the outflow from Fernanda getting sucked into the depression, but the depression seems to be fighting off some of the influence from our tropical storm.
Yeah, and in fact there's an upper level trough to the north of the depression, which is feeding the outflow from Fernanda into the depression, causing some wind shear, so that's why it's remaining weak. But Greg and Fernanda on either side are in more favorable conditions. Now, the distance between these is critical. Fernanda is far enough west from the other 2 that it's not really going to be influenced by the other 2 at all.
Okay.
But the depression and Greg are close enough that they might interact with one another and influence one another's track forecast. So if you look at Fernanda, it's on its own. Like, you 2 are over there, you don't bother me, okay? I'm on my own. I've got a nice environment. I've got warm water. Yeah, I'm headed toward cooler water and wind shear, but that's going to be its own thing, separate from the other 2 systems.
Right, but and you know, it will have impacts for Hawaii, not the same impacts that it would have if it were striking right now, but you know, it's a different
Right.
beast by the time it gets to Hawaii.
Yeah, it might not even be a depression or storm by the time it gets to Hawaii next week, but it could bring some heavy rainfall in that complex terrain. Now, on the other side, Greg, maximum winds 40 miles an hour, tropical storm, generally pretty good conditions, but there is some of that wind shear, the same upper level trough that's affecting the depression. But Greg is forecast to move westward because there's a ridge to its north, but look at that track kind of slow down and bend to the left near the end, because there's the possibility that the presence of Depression 8E could lessen the effect of that ridge to the north, and so the depression, while it doesn't look like much now, it might be able to strengthen and move toward the west and move very slowly, because Greg is probably going to pass to its north. Or at least that's one of the possibilities.
Almost slingshot it around. I mean, doing track forecasts when you have this, what we call a Fujiwara effect going on, is extremely difficult. So let's learn a little bit more about that.
Yeah, let's take a look.
Join me. Fujiwara, also a dance move that I do at weddings to entertain folks, but there's much more science to
So
this.
that obviously means you are dancing cyclonically around somebody else. Obviously, everybody knows that.
Precisely. I mean, you get it. Thank you.
So let's say, like Fernanda and Greg got two cyclones that are far apart.
Right.
They're not going to affect one another's track. But if you're within about, 900 miles of one another, and in the case of Depression 8E and Greg, they're about 700 to 750 miles apart, you're going to affect one another's track and intensity forecast. Now, a number of possibilities. If they stay far enough apart and they're both strong, they will kind of rotate around one another eventually, or at least affect one another. And in this case, we think Greg is going to pass north of the depression. But the other question is, if they don't both survive, then one's going to be dominant and one is going to get destroyed. So if they get too close to one another, let's say the depression never really strengthens and it gets drawn into the circulation of Greg, it'll just fall apart and Greg will absorb it. But if the depression strengthens and Greg weakens, then this becomes the big thing and then Greg gets absorbed by the depression. But if they were to both stay strong, they rotate around one another. So who's going to dance? Who's going to be dominant? Who's going to get destroyed? We don't know yet, but those are all the possibilities. But the rotating around one another is called the Fujiwara effect and only works if you are both strong and both at just the right distance from one another.
I'm sure a lot of folks would argue it's like a marriage. You know, we're either going to dance or I'm just going to dominate you and I'm going to be the boss.
Yeah, and if you're the one who's dominant, the other one's going to get destroyed. So
it's usually the way it goes. Dr. Knight, thank you. I'm excited to see how this all plays out. Mark?
Yeah, plenty to watch there, that's for sure. Coming up on Weather Underground, we're tracking dangerous storms in the upper Midwest right now. Find out where the threat of damaging winds is increasing and who's at risk through the overnight hours. We're also keeping our eye on the Orlando area. Orlando as well as Kissimmee, big storms nearby, big time lightning, heavy rain. Luckily, the severe thunderstorm warnings have ebbed for now.
See what you like, pay no mind, 'cause I've heard it before 1,000 times. You can break my bones, but you'll never.
While other insurance companies just see a truck, we see something you've worked really hard for. So why not give it the protection it deserves?
It's just what you see.
Hey, Katie, I'm going to go ahead and invade your personal space to run some things by you.
It's going to look like I'm listening, but I'm actually just paying attention to Nugget.
Cool. I'll pretend you're answering the questions I have.
I'll scroll through my feed and avoid making eye contact.
I'm just going to keep hovering.
Wouldn't it be great if everyone said what they meant?
Hovering away.
The Citi Double Cash Card does. Only Citi lets you earn 1% cash back when you buy and 1% as you pay. The Citi Double Cash Card. Double means double.
Okay, movie night. Who sees the remote?
You don't need it. Alexa, search for family movies.
Well, hey.
Wow.
You did that without a remote.
Alexa, play Ghostbusters.
Oh.
Right.
Hey, you guys really have it all figured out, huh? That's what we do. You bought a zoo? It's what we do.
Introducing Dish with Amazon Alexa, letting you control your hopper with just your voice. Dish, tuned into you.
Having moderate to severe plaque psoriasis is not always easy. It's a long-distance run, and you have the determination to keep going. Humira has a proven track record of being prescribed for nearly 10 years. Humira works inside the body to target and help block a specific source of inflammation that contributes to symptoms. In clinical trials, most adults taking Humira were clear or almost clear, and many saw 75% and even 90% clearance in just 4 months.
Humira can lower your ability to fight infections, including tuberculosis. Serious, sometimes fatal infections and cancers, including lymphoma, have happened, as have blood, liver, and nervous system problems, serious allergic reactions, and new or worsening heart failure. Before treatment, get tested for TB. Tell your doctor if you've been to areas where certain fungal infections are common, and if you've had TB, hepatitis B, are prone to infections, or have flu-like symptoms or sores. Don't start Humira if you have an infection.
Join over 250,000 people who have chosen Humira. Ask about the #1 prescribed biologic by dermatologists. Humira and go.
Pain isn't always fair. I'm not going to let it change my life.
Aleve is proven stronger on pain than Tylenol 8-Hour. And only Aleve has the strength to stop tough pain for up to 12 hours with just 1 pill.
This is my pain, but I'm stronger.
Aleve, all day strong.
Oh.
You're not taking these.
Hey. You're not taking those.
Whoa. You're not taking that. Come with me.
You're not taking that.
You're not taking that. You're not taking that. Mom, I'm taking the Subaru.
Don't be late. Even when we're not there to keep them safe, our Subaru Outback will be.
Love. It's what makes a Subaru a Subaru.
Welcome to my music. Turn it out. Show me what you do now. We don't have to go out.
It's been building up over decades. And through 35 years of severe weather, it's strengthened into trust. Trust in the Weather Channel. To us, nothing matters more. Every season, every storm, every time you watch. Trust the Weather Channel.
Have you seen this? If you're like me, you're like, yes, I watched it 11 times on repeat on my couch last night.
I thought you were going to say like 30.
But, I mean, essentially. If you're an animal lover, obviously you love dogs. Baby deer also adorbs. This dog named Storm ran into the harbor. He was barking. His owner let him jump in over the weekend to help a baby deer that was struggling in the water, pulls the deer in, and then sits there and nudges it to be like, hey, buddy, are you okay? The owner's saying, hey, he's okay. He's just tired.
Yeah.
What a good boy. Somebody get him the, what's the puppy ice cream? It's called like, I give my dogs real ice cream, so I don't know. But Frosty Paws.
Oh, that's a good name for
Frosty
doggy
Paws
ice cream.
It is.
Yeah, I get it.
And or a giant bone or whatever it is he likes. Storm.
Plus a good weather name, which is always a bonus for getting your dog video on TV.
Isn't Animal Instinct incredible? though?
Just the fact that that dog was willing to run in and grab that, you know, an animal of a different species, but rescue it and bring it in. Pretty awesome.
And I'm sure most of us would look out and maybe not even see it.
Yeah.
But he knew it was there and knew it needed help.
Yeah.
Good boy, Storm. He gets an extra belly rub.
That's an attaboy.
Yeah. Hey, you're watching Weather Underground, where we love bringing you heartwarming stories, and anything with a dog I'll pretty much tell you about. I'm Alex Wilson here with Mark Elliott.
Mike Bettis is off this evening, and so I get to tell you about how all of our weather stories are connected by one big dome of high pressure, right? This thing is in control, not just right where it's sitting, right? But no, this thing is dictating the entire pattern for 2/3, maybe even 7/8 of the country at this point. First, we'll start near that high pressure zone itself. Sinking air, compressing air heats up. Plus, during the day, you got clear skies. There's no rain here because of that sinking air. It is still humid, though. It's summer, and so extreme heat, basically right over the center of the country. But that dome of high pressure, it's got a big reach. You can see the wind flow going around this high. We call this the ring of fire. We've got storms here in the humidity of the southeast. We've got storms along the Gulf. We've got monsoon-induced storms here in the southwest tied around that flow. And maybe most importantly, that northwest flow across the northern tier will be dictating where our storms go over the next couple of days. It's also where our biggest severe threat will be. So let's bring in severe weather expert Dr. Greg Forbes, who's watching the northern plains tonight. Doc, we had a pretty windy event come through Green Bay. Do you see those storms continuing across the lake now?
Yeah, I do, and it's a kind of a rough situation for northern Lake Michigan, where there's a bow echo heading across that area. A cold front here in blue is invading that ring of fire that Mark was talking about. We also have a few storms that are in the east flow, the upslope flow into the high plains that are severe as well with a hail and wind threat. We'll take a look here. Here's that bow echo that I was talking about coming toward right across the northern end of Lake Michigan toward Garnet and then toward the Mackinac City area. You do not want to be in a sailboat or any kind of boats that are in that area north and west of Mackinac City, because it could be 50, maybe even over the water, 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts there. Green Bay, line of thunderstorms coming across the area of Brown and Outagamie counties with that threat for damaging winds. Seems like those storms may be weakening just a bit, as these storms have done coming toward the Oshkosh area and the Baraboo area. Not severe warned, but all of these storms are thunderstorms. Lightning can be a deadly hazard, of course. And that's the case also here. Not severe warned, but just east of Iowa City coming toward the Davenport area with a possibility of maybe getting some damaging wind gusts and certainly that lightning threat. This storm coming toward Rapid City in South Dakota, golf ball size hail and 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts, severe warning for that storm. So isolated severe thunderstorms from Upper Peninsula Michigan down into parts of Nebraska and then here and there in the high plains areas. Mark?
All right, Dr. Forbes, we got to find out where these storms go from here, right? So many people worried about what their morning commute will be like, or really what the next couple of days will be like. Let's time it out for you, starting with tonight. Here are those storms that Dr. Forbes was talking about, especially here in the northern Lake Michigan, and then also this organizing cluster in eastern Iowa. Keep an eye on both of those, as the model is doing a decent job at picking up on both of them. Storms from Iowa come across Illinois and tap into some of that extra moisture from the cornfields. Those could be pretty big through about midnight time. Then they should fizzle out. We're also watching those storms coming across northern and central Michigan. Those could continue with a little bit of an oomph even into the overnight. Then we get a bit of a break for the kind of the Midwest while the northern tier restarts again. Our next storm system drops in, and as Dr. Navarro was telling us, as we get just a little bit of daytime heating, the instability really picks back up across the plains. We'll see this cluster of storms dropping south into that instability. Alex, over to you.
And, you know, for some, beneath that area of storminess, we could be looking at the hottest days of the year. Beneath the ridge of high pressure, I should say, south of the area of thunderstorms. Later this week, for millions of Americans, we are going to be feeling that serious heat. In fact, triple digits possible from St. Louis to Omaha. St. Louis, you were actually very, very close today, making it into the upper 90s. Here are your excessive heat warnings, your heat advisories, and your excessive heat watches. Makes you want to just jump in the pool, right? Was that actually the sound of a splash that I just heard? It may have been. Either that or it's in my head, but that's really the only spot you're going to want to be if you're outside, inside AC, movie theaters. Hello, maybe some back-to-school shopping as well. It's going to be awfully hot thanks to this upper-level high pressure that is keeping things above average and keeping those temperatures at or near the triple digits. 103 tomorrow for North Platte. How about 100 in St. Louis? 101 Dodge City and Wichita. These are your highs on Thursday. St. Louis is at 103. By the time we get into our Friday, not much changing. We're staying in the upper 90s, low 100s for many locations, including Wichita, where it will be 103 degrees, Mark, to end that week.
And that doesn't even factor in the humidity, which is going to be high for the next couple of days. So that's brutal. I mean, that's why those excessive heat warnings are up.
Take it easy, drink lots of water, check in on your neighbors, and of course bring your pets inside.
Absolutely.
Too hot for them too.
All good advice. Let's talk now a little bit about the Southeast, right? The Southeast has been seeing some pretty robust temperatures of your own right. Now, overall, the Southeast has been below average, to tell you the truth. The one area of the country that has been, largely because of thunderstorms each and every afternoon. Now we're starting to break that cycle a bit, getting into the mid-90s in Atlanta, upper 90s in Nashville, as well as Columbia, near 100 from D.C. into Raleigh for Thursday and Friday. Those are big-time temperatures. When you're talking near the century line in the nation's capital for days on end, you know that this is a pretty extreme event. Again, storms in the Southeast will be the only thing that you can knock down these temperatures. You might actually be hoping for some of those afternoon thunderstorms so you don't get as an extreme a temp. Alex.
All right, let's talk storms too, because we got plenty of those across the Southeast as well. That's what is giving you some relief. Showers and thunderstorms across Florida, really from areas around Jacksonville to Tampa, but we've got some severe warned storms here into the state of North Carolina, edging awfully close to the South Carolina state line. Here in Anson and Richmond counties, we've got a severe thunderstorm warning, also a flash flood warning, because we have seen some heavy rainfall coming down with these storms. To the north, we've got another severe thunderstorm warning. This moving through areas to the east of Big Lick, west of Troy, Montgomery, and Stanley counties. You're under a severe thunderstorm warning until 8 o'clock. Now we take you north and east of Winston-Salem. This along the North Carolina-Virginia state line. City of Danville, you're under a severe thunderstorm warning, although the worst of this storm is moving out of your area. We've also got Caswell, Pittsylvania, and Rockingham counties along the North Carolina-Virginia border under this warning. So plenty of areas to watch here across parts of Virginia and North Carolina. Another warning to the north and east of Roanoke. This right along the I-81 corridor around Lexington, well to the north of Natural Bridge, areas south and west of Millboro. It's Lexington, the city of, although the storm really north of you, and Rockbridge County. Mark?
Yeah, this time of year, famous for the popcorn storms, also famous for the tropics starting to light up. So we're bringing back in our tropical expert, Dr. Rick Knabb. Dr. Knabb, very busy map right now. Let's start off by looking at the Atlantic side of things.
Yeah, a bit of popcorn here. Things are popping on both the Atlantic and East Pacific sides. Let's focus on the Atlantic for now. Tropical Storm Don. Intermediate public advisory within the next few minutes. So before the show is out, we'll update everybody on what that shows, because there is a Hurricane Hunter plane that has made one pass through, and it's not crystal clear if it has a closed circulation anymore, and just how strong the winds are. Nothing stronger I saw in the aircraft data than 40 miles an hour, but we'll have to go through those data in the next few minutes. Regardless, if you're in these islands, have focus on the fact you got tropical storm conditions, tropical storm warnings, St. Vincent, the Grenadines, and Grenada.
And squally weather, whether it's still a tropical storm with a name or not, there's still going to be thunderstorms moving through tonight.
Yeah, it'll be a quick in and out, but you could get tropical storm force winds and also some locally heavy rainfall. And with mountainous islands, you can have some dangerous, possibly even life-threatening flash floods and mudslides that creep up on you in a hurry. But by this time tomorrow night,
this is basically the end.
Yeah, because it's going to be a slow upper level wind pattern that's strong enough to take this small tropical storm that's heading into drier air and tear it apart. So wind shear, dry air going to meet the demise, and another small one going to bite the dust, just like Brett did last month.
Almost deja vu all over again when you look at those two. Dr. Knabb, thanks so much. When we come back, powder days look pretty refreshing when the mercury hits the triple digits, and you don't have to wait until the start of ski season because the last season's still going. We'll show you where next on Weather Underground.
Jay Bush and Duke here. When I'm in the mood for hot dogs and burgers, I go with the classic taste of Bush's baked beans. But I'm feeling bolder, so I go for the robust flavor of Bush's grillin' beans. They're a perfect match for steaks and chops.
Dude, I like this new wild side.
Bush's Beans. Whatever your mood, we've got a bean for you.
Bush's Baked Beans, the veggie kids love.
The beer that's as refreshing as refreshment gets. Leinenkugel's Summer Shandy.
Coffee Mate helps you stir up a rich, creamy flavor. It can inspire you to stir up other things too, like a new friendship. Stir up commitment with Coffee Mate ice cream flavors.
May God bless and keep you always. May your wishes all come true. May you always do for others. Let others do for you. May you build on.
Long live the fearless, and long live the trucks that push you further. Ram, America's longest-lasting pickups.
Now get an average $11,468 in total values on the 2017 Ram 1500 Bighorn Crew Cab with a Hemi V8 engine.
I didn't know where I was from ethnically, so we sent that sample off to Ancestry. My Ancestry DNA results are that I'm 26% Nigerian. I'm just trying to learn as much as I can about my culture. I put the gele on my head, and I looked into the mirror, and I was trying not to cry, because it's a hat. But it's like the most important hat I've ever owned.
Discover the story only your DNA can tell. Order your kit now at AncestryDNA.com.
At Panera, a salad is so much more than one thing. More than one flavor, or texture, or color. A good, clean salad is so much more than green. And with Panera Catering, more for your event. Panera, food as it should be.
You totaled your brand new car. Nobody's hurt, but there will still be pain. It comes when your insurance company says they'll only pay 3/4 of what it takes to replace it. What are you supposed to do, drive 3/4 of a car? Now, if you had Liberty Mutual new car replacement, you'd get your whole car back. I guess they don't want you driving around on 3 wheels. Smart.
With Liberty Mutual new car replacement, we'll replace the full value of your car. Liberty stands with you. Liberty Mutual Insurance.
The average family's hectic home. It's raised 1 daredevil, 2 dynamic DIY duos, and an entrepreneur named Sharon. It's witnessed 31 crashes, 4 food fights, and the flood of '09. It's your paradise perfected with Behr Premium Plus low odor paint. The best you can buy starting under $25. Unbelievable quality, unbeatable prices. Only at the Home Depot.
All week long, we're celebrating the Great American Chill Out right here on the Weather Channel.
Yeah, we need to help you chill out because it is hot outside. So water skiing, one way to beat the heat, right?
I suppose.
Neither of us particularly good at it, but there's also snow skiing, and thanks to an epic winter, you can still ski on the snow in California. The Weather Channel's Scott Newell has more.
Hey, welcome to the top of Mammoth Mountain. The weather is here.
And so are the skiers and snowboarders.
This is the only time you get to ski in bare minimum. We're skiing in bikinis today.
Starting at the 11,000-foot summit, life is going downhill, and that's a good thing.
How are you loving this?
Loving the Loco Vita, living the Loco Vita, living the Pollo Loco. That's what my rubber chicken is doing. Where is he? Thank you.
And the snow is going to stick around for a while.
As conditions allow, we will stay open. We're committed to staying open into August.
The reason they're still open is an incredible amount of snow fell.
At Mammoth Mountain, over the past season, they had more than 600 inches fall, 246 of those inches in January alone, a record. But it's not just the amount of snow they had, it's the type of snow they had that allows it to stay on the ground this long.
It was wetter snow than usual.
We usually pick up about, 42 inches of water. This winter, we picked up about 94 inches of water.
You like it?
The kids were loving that snow, too. It's Emma Keisker's first experience with it.
She always dreamed about being in the snow because she saw Frozen, the cartoon and YouTube channel where kids go into the snow and make snow angel.
Even the dogs loved it. And the snow was right for a snowball fight.
On a scale from 1 to 100, I'd give it a 65.
Just a 65?
Actually, an 80.
Just an 80?
Make that 95.
If you can't beat the heat, go with the snow.
Come on out to California and you can be in a t-shirt and shorts in the snow, having fun, falling like this guy, and you won't be cold, you won't be hot, you'll be just right.
At Mammoth Mountain, California, I'm Scott Newell, the Weather Channel.
Thanks, Scott. Meanwhile, this record snow this past winter, not just a boon to Western ski resorts, but potentially a unique advantage for elite athletes that are training for next year's Winter Olympics.
You bet. Hey, Kaylin Richardson joins us now, a two-time Winter Olympian and a professional big mountain skier. Kaylin, got to ask you, is there a difference in the way that you guys, winter athletes, you set up your training when there's still snow so late in the season?
It doesn't necessarily change what we actually do as far as our plan, but what it does change substantially is the quality. All these athletes, they train April, May, and then throughout the summer, but depending on the places they go, if you can train with winter conditions, that is a huge advantage. Because just like any other sport, if you can have game time scenarios to train in, that makes you that much better when it comes to competition season.
Although the snow that's out there now, July, isn't exactly the same kind of quality and caliber as the snow you'll be on in the Olympics. Is it even worth training on that, or is it better to go somewhere where it's wintry?
For a lot of the elite athletes, it's definitely going to the southern hemisphere and getting those winter type conditions. But back in April and May, even into June, I skied here in Utah in those mountains right behind me in the Wasatch. And yeah, especially once it gets around 10, 11 o'clock in the morning, it'll get really slushy. But those morning conditions, they can be super, super icy conditions. Like in Mammoth and at Mount Hood and up in Oregon on those glaciers, you still get that really great abrasive snow for those that want to compete. But for recreational skiers, definitely the slush is where you want to be.
And you mentioned you're in the Park City area. You sent us this picture, and I want to share it with our viewers, of you on the last patch of snow. You found it. Can you tell us when you took that and what it's like to be around that last little bit of snow?
That last little bit of snow, it definitely, I'm a winter sports person. I don't really wilt per se when it comes to be summertime, but I definitely like the cooler weather. So when I saw that last little patch, I had to take it in my hands and really feel it. And that was actually taken in June. But I have to say that you have to go up pretty high in these mountains right now to find snow, but you can still find it. But then a lot of these elite athletes, they still find ways, even when it's 90 degrees out like it was today, to train.
Yeah, girl, I'm just like you. I need it to be cold, minus the whole Olympian thing and like athletics.
You're exactly the same.
Exactly the same person.
Exactly the same.
Kaylin, thank you so much for sharing this with us. Good luck. I hope your training continues to go awesome. always interesting to get the insight about, you know, the iciness. And again, I'm by no means a skier, so I learned something new.
Yeah, I mean, that icy sheen that I would avoid with like a plague if I was out there. It's what the elite athletes are hoping for, to get that fast edge.
Icy, not icy, I still fall on it. Hey, we'll be right back.
For my constipation, my doctor recommended I switch laxatives. Stimulant laxatives make your body go by forcefully stimulating the nerves in your colon. Miralax is different. It works with the water in your body to hydrate and soften, unblocking your system naturally. Miralax.
Over 40, feeling tired, losing muscle, and even romantic drive? Man up with Ageless Male. Natural ingredients clinically shown to support energy, promote muscle, and boost free testosterone. Man up with Ageless Male.
The Weather Channel's hit series is back. Top 10 takes the biggest and baddest storm.
It's unthinkable.
The wildest weather ever experienced.
Unbelievable.
And puts them in order of awesomeness.
There's no telling what's going to happen.
If Mother Nature made it, our meteorologists rank it.
I'm in shock. I can't believe this happened.
All of a sudden, you could be totally caught off guard.
Catch the Top 10 Weather Wonders. Sunday night at 8 on the Weather Channel.
An excessive heat warning is in effect. Currently in our area, 91 degrees under sunny skies. Tonight, a few passing clouds, low 76. Wednesday, partly cloudy, high 97. Winds south at 10 to 15 miles per hour. Wednesday night, partly cloudy, low 78. Winds south at 10 to 15 miles per hour. Here's our 7-day outlook.
Colon cancer screening for people 50 and older at average risk.
I think it's time for a new screen. For a different kind of screen. For colon cancer. Thought about it? His wife asked about screening options, and her doctor ordered me. I'm Cologuard, the non-invasive test you use at home. No special drink, just a trip to the bathroom.
Cologuard, colon cancer screening that's as easy as get, go, gone. Cologuard is not right for everyone, so ask your doctor if it's right for you.
Now at the Honda Summerbration sales event, you can get a great deal on a Honda Civic and keep things festive all summer long. Your unforgettable summer begins today with a trip to the Honda Summerbration sales event. Hurry in and get a great deal on a Honda Civic from KBB.com's best value brand at your local Honda dealer.
Dogs used to hunt to satisfy their cravings. Now, the hunt is over. New Peak from Rachel Ray Nutrish. Made with 30% protein and 0% grains, real beef or turkey is the #1 ingredient, combined with venison, duck, or quail. Satisfy your dog's cravings with protein-rich Peak, one of the specialty recipes from Nutrish. Real recipes, real ingredients, real good.
Hello. You called about a rat? Can't figure out how it's getting inside. Well, we study rodents' habits, and we use the latest exclusion techniques to keep them out of your home.
I tell her not to bring her pony in the house.
Hey, I'm Ty Pennington, and I've got a simple question for you. Are you paying too much for your mortgage? Well, you won't know for sure until you check with Guaranteed Rate. You can do it right now. It's that easy. With Guaranteed Rate's digital mortgage, you can choose from today's lowest rates, check your free credit scores, and even get approved online. Anytime, anywhere. All in just minutes, at no cost to you. Lowering your mortgage payment could save you thousands of dollars. Just take a few minutes right now to see how much you could save.
We were going to rent. That was the going-in plan, but the rate was so low at Guaranteed Rate that we ended up buying.
Whether you're buying a new home or refinancing your current home, get a low, low rate from Guaranteed Rate. Visit rate.com right now to find out how much you could save. Call 1-888-557-1555 or visit rate.com.
Any one of us is just a bad storm or a wrong turn from a survival scenario.
On the whole, the world is growing warmer. That's one takeaway after the latest data that came out from the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration.
Yeah, we're keeping a special tally. It's a report card on climate that we're calling Examination Earth. Meteorologist Chris Warren explains.
NOAA's monthly climate report is in for the month of June, so it's time for Examination Earth. I'm meteorologist Chris Warren. Here's a look at the numbers. We're going to take a look at sea ice, carbon dioxide, and temperature. Sea ice for the month of June is running below average at both poles. Carbon dioxide for the month of June at new record levels. Global temperatures at 1.48 degrees warmer than average is the third warmest June on record. This is what that looks like across the globe. Anywhere in red shows you where temperatures were warmer than average. The blue areas show you where temperatures were just a little bit cooler than average, with the dark red showing record warm levels. Here's a look at the same information, however, a different time period. This is now January through June. So the second warmest year to date for that time period at 1.64 degrees warmer than average. Including this month of June, that makes it 390 consecutive months where the Earth has been warmer than average.
I'd say thanks, Chris, although none of that was really optimistic all that much. Yeah, I mean, hey, the science, the stats are what they are. It's important to put it out there and go through the best science that we have access to.
You betcha. Right now, we've got pretty much the best science has to offer in terms of hurricane experts. That's Dr. Rick Knapp, former director of the National Hurricane Center. You may have heard of him, and we're glad you're here because we've got a lot to talk about.
Yeah, do we have time for this? I mean, this will take about 20 minutes to
I'm
go
going to
through all
start
these.
the counter. I don't have a watch on, but don't worry, I'm watching.
Well, one hurricane, two tropical storms, a depression, couple other areas to watch, and Don is being investigated by Hurricane Hunter planes even as we speak. I'll show you where the plane is right now, but it's right on the doorstep of the southern Windward Islands. Tropical storm with the winds of 40 miles an hour, but moving very quickly. Tropical storm warnings in effect for St. Vincent, the Grenadines, Grenada, for good reason, and the weather is going downhill as we speak. Now, the Hurricane Hunters from Keesler Air Force Base in Mississippi forward deployed to St. Croix in the U.S. Virgin Islands, and that's where their flight a little while ago originated from, and now they are looking for the closed circulation at the surface, and the first pass through the storm didn't look like they found one yet, so they're turning around. They're going to go back through it again. But what's unusual about this situation is they might not make that determination before the tropical storm conditions get to Grenada. So I wouldn't worry about this if you're in the islands there. You're going to get, if not tropical storm conditions, something close to it, strong winds, potentially heavy rainfall with flash floods and mudslides, potentially being life-threatening. So, you know, whatever this is, even though it's in the process of weakening, still could be hazardous tonight.
Like we always say, it's the impacts that matter. It's not necessarily the name tonight that matters. It's the impacts there.
Right. But we'll get an intermediate public advisory soon. And
looks like we got
just come in. Okay, it says it's coming in even as we speak. So, but from the winds, I saw, you know, no change in the status of the system yet, and there's no way they're going to change the status of the system while the plane is still out there.
Yeah.
And so
tropical storm still at 40-mile-per-hour winds, moving west at 23, so it's hauling.
Yeah, and it's been accelerating, and that'll continue to be the case. So by this time tomorrow night, there'll be no more Don.
All right, we've got a system behind it though, and as you like to say, you're always watching what's next.
Yep, and there's an this is out east of the islands by a few hundred miles. 30% chance of formation within the next couple of days. Then beyond that time, it'll encounter more hostile conditions, and this is not going to reach the islands. It'll turn right as it probably falls apart. So I'm not too worried about this one. Lots to look at in the East Pacific. Hurricane Fernando on the left, Tropical Storm Greg on the right, Depression 8E in the middle. And they're all kind of affecting one another at least some way. Although Fernando is kind of like, whatever, you two. I'm on my own. I'm headed toward Hawaii. I'm going to Hawaii. Yeah. But the good news for the folks in Hawaii, my friends out there that I love so much, this is not going to be a strong system by the time it gets there. It might not even be a storm or depression next week when it gets there. But the remnants of it, if that's what we've got, could still bring some moisture, some heavy rainfall, in the mountainous terrain there, and flash flooding is not out of the question.
So again, it's all about the impacts. Doesn't matter if there's a name left. You mess up the trade winds, you mess up where the thunderstorms do or do not form, and suddenly you get mudslides.
Yeah, just a good thing that Hawaii is hard to get a hurricane hit from the east. Now, farther east, Tropical Storm Greg off the coast of Mexico. This is moving away from Mexico, even though it might strengthen a little bit. But look at the little bend to the left at the end. That's because Greg is going to be affected in some way by Tropical Depression 8E. That's probably going to strengthen a little bit. And then it is going to be moving more slowly to the west than Greg, because Greg is causing it to slow down. They're interacting with one another. And again, like we talked about earlier, they might move around one another. One might be dominant with the other being destroyed. The other way around. It's a really tough track forecast to forecast both of these and understand which one's going to win out.
Right. It's kind of like an epic battle to
It's
watch.
the battle on the dance floor of the East Pacific.
You don't even need Game of Thrones. You've got what's happening in the Pacific. Should mention also, you've probably heard on the internet today that if this is named, this would be Hillary. So we could have Hillary and Don at the
So
same
somewhere
time.
off our left coast is Hillary and somewhere off our right coast is Don? Is that what you're trying to say?
That's what we're saying. I'd
Got
say
it.
tell your grandma about it, but then you could get into a political conversation.
Nobody
so
wants that.
You do that at your own risk. Dr. Knapp, thanks for hanging out with us. Mark as well, and hey, we'll see all you tomorrow.
An excessive heat warning is in effect. Currently in our area, 91 degrees under sunny skies. Tonight, a few passing clouds, low 76. Wednesday, partly cloudy, high 97. Winds south at 10 to 15 miles per hour. Wednesday night, partly cloudy, low 78. Winds south at 10 to 15 miles per hour. Here's our 7-day outlook.
Deadly lightning that strikes in the weirdest places and weirdest of ways.
Because lightning is so very powerful, it can do a lot of weird things.
Freak ice storms in the baking desert.
Look, this is huge.
The underwater volcanoes changing our weather.
Woohoo! Coming.
The power of Mother Nature underneath the water.
And seeing really is believing. The crystal clear water you can walk on.
It feels like you're almost floating. You can see all the way to the bottom.
Welcome to the wild world of weather, where you'll see nature go nuts. Extraordinary events stranger than fiction. We discover how and why these crazy conditions happen. Whoa! You won't believe your eyes. This is the strangest weather on Earth. Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, May 2011.
Oh my God!
House owners look on in awe and fear as spectacular lightning strikes bombard nearby power lines.
Well, we lost our power now. That's bad, because that's that power line is on fire.
Lightning is one of the most dramatic and strange